Chapter 2. There's nothing in the living world like books on water cures, deaths of 1,000 slices, or pouring white-hot lava off castle walls on drolls and mountebanks. So said Jim Nightshade. That's all he read. If it wasn't how to burgle the First National, it was how to build catapults, or shape black bumbershoots into lurking bat costumes for cabbage night. Jim breathed it out all fine, and Will, he breathed it all in. With the lightning rod nailed to Jim's roof, Will proud and Jim ashamed of what he considered mutual cowardice, it was late in the day. Supper over, it was time for their weekly jog to the library. Like all boys, they never walked anywhere, but named a goal and lit for it, scissors and elbows. Nobody won. Nobody wanted to win. It was their friendship, they just wanted to run forever, shadow and shadow. Their hands slapped library door handles together. Their chests broke track tapes together. Their tennis shoes beat parallel pony tracks over lawns, trimmed bushes, squirreled trees, no one losing, both winning, thus saving their friendship for other times of loss. So it was on this night that blew warm, then cool, as they let the wind take them downtown at 8 o'clock. They felt the wings on their fingers and elbows flying, then suddenly plunged in the new sweeps of air. The clean autumn river flung them headlong where they must go. Up steps 3, 6, 9, 12, slap! Their palms hit the library door. Jim and Will grinned at each other. It was all so good, these blowing quiet October nights in the library waiting inside now with its green-shaded lamps and papyrus dust. Jim listened. What's that? What, the wind? Like music. Jim squinted at the horizon. Don't hear no music. Jim shook his head. Gone. Or it wasn't even there. Come on. They opened the door and stepped in. They stopped. The library deeps lay waiting for them. Out in the world not much happened. But here in the special night of land bricked with paper and leather, anything might happen. Always did. Listen. And you heard 10,000 people screaming so high only dogs feathered their ears. 1,000,000 folk ran toting cannons, sharpening guillotines. Chinese, 4 abreast, marched on forever. Invisible, silent, yes, but Jim and Will had the gift of ears and noses as well as the gift of tongues. This was a factory of spices from far countries. Here alien deserts slumbered. Up front was the desk where the nice old lady, Miss Watrous, purple-stamped your books. But down off away were Tibet and Antarctica, the Congo. There went Miss Wills, the other librarian, through outer Mongolia, calmly toning fragments of Peiping and Yokohama and the Celebes. Way down the third corridor, an oldish man whispered his broom along in the dark, mounding the fallen spices. Will started. It was always a surprise, that old man, his work, his name. That's Charles William Holloway, thought Will. Not grandfather, not far-wandering, ancient uncle as some might think, but my father. So, looking back down the corridor, was Dad shocked to see he owned a son who visited this separate 20,000 fathoms deep world? Dad always seemed stunned when Will rose up before him, as if they had met a lifetime ago and one had grown old while the other stayed young, and this fact stood between. Far off, the old man smiled. They approached each other, carefully. Is that you, Will? Grown an inch since this morning. Charles Holloway shifted his glance. Jim? Eyes darker, cheeks paler. You burn yourself at both ends, Jim? Heck, said Jim. No such place as heck. But hell's right under A, for Allegory. Allegory's beyond me, said Jim. How stupid of me, Dad laughed. I meant Dante. Look at this. Pictures by Mr. Dore, showing all the aspects. Hell never looked better. Here's souls sunk to their gills in slime. There's someone upside down, wrong side out. Boy, howdy! Jim eyed the pages 2 different ways and thumbed on. Got any dinosaur pictures? Dad shook his head. That's over in the next aisle. He strolled them around and reached out. Here we are. Pterodactyl, kite of destruction. Or what about Drums of Doom? The Saga of the Thunder Lizards. Pep you up, Jim? I'm pepped. Dad winked at Will. Will winked back. They stood now, a boy with corn-colored hair and a man with moon-white hair. A boy with a summer apple, a man with a winter apple face. Dad, thought Will. Why, he looks like me in a smashed mirror. And suddenly Will remembered nights rising at 2 in the morning to go to the bathroom and spying across town to see the one single light in the high library window. And no Dad had lingered on late murmuring and reading alone under these green jungle lamps. It made Will sad and funny to see that light, to know the old man he stopped to change the world, his father, was here in all this shadow. Will, said the old man, who was also a janitor, who happened to be his father, what about you? Huh? Will shook himself. You need a white hat or a black hat book. Hats, said Will. Well, Jim, they perambulated, Dad running his fingers across the book spines. He wears the black 10-gallon hats and reads books to fit. Middle name's Moriarty, right, Jim? Any day now he'll move up from Fu Manchu to Machiavelli. Here, medium-sized dark fedora, or over along to Dr. Faustus, extra large black Stetson. That leaves the white hat boys to you, Will. Here's Gandhi. Next door, St. Thomas. And on the next level, well, Buddha. You don't mind, said Will. I'll settle for the mysterious island. What, asked Jim, scowling, is all this talk about white and black hats? Why, Dad handed Jules Verne to Will. It's just a long time ago I had to decide myself which color I'd wear. So, said Jim, which did you pick? Dad looked surprised, then he laughed uneasily. Since you need to ask, Jim, you make me wonder. Well, tell Mom I'll be home soon. Get out of here, both of you. Miss Watrous, he called softly to the librarian at the desk. Dinosaurs and mysterious islands coming up. The door slammed. Outside, a weather of stars ran clear in an ocean sky. Heck, Jim sniffed north, Jim sniffed south. Where's the storm? That darn salesman promised. I just got to watch the lightning fizz down my drain pipes. Will let the wind ruffle and refit his clothes, his skin, his hair. Then he said faintly, It'll be here by morning. Who says? The huckleberries all down my arms, they say. Great! The wind flew Jim away, a similar kite. Will swooped to follow.